Well, I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired from my last job.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash, Brent, the commander, all here this morning. Friday, we'll give the commander a microphone. That way we don't have to work so hard.
Yep. Good morning, Commander.
Hello.
Victoria weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Feed. You know, for everything you need, there's Deerland Feed. Get in there this afternoon. Get in there tomorrow morning. Tomorrow should be a nice day.
Should be.
Tomorrow's supposed to be mostly sunny, 70 to 85 degrees. Today, it's 74 degrees under mostly sunny skies. I guess that means there's some clouds. When does mostly sunny become partly cloudy and vice versa?
I think mostly sunny is partly cloudy, but it's the positive way
side
to say it. And I prefer mostly sunny.
I like mostly sunny. I'm a glasses 3/4 full guy.
Me too.
There you go. 74 degrees in Victoria, heading to a high of only 84. We agree on that?
Yeah.
I figure being Canadian, you'd like to have maybe something to apologize for. Like you would say, well, it's partly cloudy.
Nothing to apologize for yet.
Oh, bother. It's partly
maybe
cloudy.
Your behavior last night.
You know, I'm going to go on the record as saying that I thought I was stellar last night, and I ended up taking a bite. I'm sure that nice lady is listening, but we got
because she knew who you were.
She knew who I was, and that's the bad thing. We had a great table last night. I see Joey and LaShare were there. Sherry
20
Sherry
people
was
or so.
there. Yeah. Stephanie Conti. Bob Constantine didn't make it in. He was planning on going. Yeah, look, BJ Nelson says, must have been the bingo lady blocking you. BJ Nelson and Scott were there. Scott left early. Make a note of that.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the bonus points.
You know, it was funny because
Heather Kraft Stewart was there.
I was talking to BJ in the parking lot before when we walked in because we parked pretty much beside each other at the same time. And she was the one that was going to leave early.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
she ended up staying and having a great time.
I don't know how Ms. Nelson does that. She's everywhere. So many. Nobody has more connections to the program than BJ Nelson. So
we had a lot of winners last night.
Yeah, Dawn won a bingo, and you won that one as well. Dawn got $3.25.
Yep. 42 people. So that broke my personal record of the most shares I've had to do with a bingo. It's like communism bingo.
Yeah.
One winner and everybody wins.
Scott Tomko says he was cheated out of the podium. We'll read the list in a moment. Good morning, Judge Posey.
I've now won 2 bingos there.
For like $8 total?
And I've split them with 75 other people.
There you go. Linda Chris says she felt like she was in the Breakfast Club. But we did get called down. David does a great job calling the bingo, and he did it more than one point. Call us down. It's like, hey, you guys hold it down, hold it down.
It ain't a lending library, people.
But tell the truth, honestly, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you.
No, it wasn't me. And then I got singled out.
It was Stephanie Conti, if you want me to name names.
They were laughing.
He does.
Junior Samples.
Junior's always loud. He's great, Junior. But he's loud. And the next thing you know, I'm like, hey, there's this lady, like she's up front. She's right in front of the bingo guy, like she's at church.
Yeah, like she doesn't even need to listen to the microphone to hear him.
She can see the ball in real time.
She can read his lips if she had to.
Right, but then she said, he's already told y'all to hold it down more than once. And I was like, it's okay. Look, things will be okay. Don't just relax. Then her husband said, y'all need to shut up.
Yeah, but he dropped an F-bomb, I think.
I didn't want to quote him. Yeah. Of course, he was in the wrong weight class. I would have sent Dawn over there to whip him. But at any rate, she goes, yeah, Carter. I'm like, I didn't even do it.
No. That made our table louder because we all laughed because you got blamed for something you didn't even do. It's and
that's happened so many times.
See, you were an only child, so you never had this experience. Well, you still are an only child.
I'm still an only child.
But
that doesn't change.
No, that'll never change. I grew up with 2 brothers, and if one of us did something, it didn't matter which one did it. Whichever one was closest to getting the cuff in the head, that's the one that did it. That was you last night.
You ever seen that video where the owner is just admonishing like 3 dogs, and they've all just got their heads down, like they know they're getting yelled at.
Yeah.
And then, which one of you did this? And the other 2 dogs look at the one that did it, like, you did it. What are you going to do? And that dog just puts its head down. That's kind of how our table was last night. But we had a blast.
But we weren't that loud either. That's the
No,
crazy thing.
yeah.
I mean, there were other people there that were, you know, I'm not
You sound like Richard Pryor. I wasn't really running. Yeah.
Anyway,
Very fun. Greg Garcia, first one in. Sherry Merrick Jacobs comes in. Amanda King.
Sherry win last night.
I'm sure she did. She was part of that. She had to get
She was
$3.
she was part of the cartel that won.
Yeah, that was like Joe Biden's debt relief. Everybody got $3.
Amanda King, good morning. That's your podium this morning. Look at that. The ladies not quite able to edge out Greg Garcia, but they're there.
Yeah, Justin Glass, Sarah Elkins, Bobby Leister. Hi, Bobby. Haven't seen Bobby much this week.
Ricky King, Micah Patton, Linda Chris. Linda was there putting up with Junior. Monty Howard, good morning. Scott Snow.
Saw BJ earlier. Heather Kraft Stewart, Judge Posey.
Scott Tomko
Yep.
says he was cheated out of the podium.
42 wins
Yep.
on one game. Mark Kurtz
And it was,
there.
and of course, it's not the, you know, it's not the $300
Hey.
game, or the $500 game. It's the $150 game.
Hang on.
We have a call.
We had a call, but hang on a second.
Oh, okay, well,
We'll have to.
you know, if you turn the ringy dingy thing on,
We
you
almost
can hear
do
it.
everything we
Yeah.
can to help.
Mark Kurtz, good morning. Lisa Poole. Lisa was there. I don't know if Lisa was the only person there that
Hello?
didn't win.
Hello.
Hello, who is this, please? And please identify
This is
yourself.
Junior.
Oh, Junior.
Good morning, Junior. Junior.
Hey,
I really
Junior's calling
appreciate
today.
you trying to get us kicked out of bingo last night.
You
it
have
was
to admit,
not my fault.
you have to admit it wasn't me. You have to admit.
Well, she got a little upset, but I think Ash hit it right on the head. That is not a library. It's a bingo parlor where friends meet friends and we go have a good time.
I did
Now,
say that.
we were having a good time.
I did say, look, it's where friends meet friends. Can't we be friends?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and when you yelled bingo as loud as you could, I like to lost it.
Yeah,
That was
that's what
great.
was funny is I was 1 away, and the next ball popped up, and Dawn goes, "You're gonna win," and I said, "She was doing the arm too loud." I go, "Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?" I did like a
Hang on, here
WWE.
it goes.
And then they were like,
But
shh.
But
Security.
the funniest thing of the whole night was 42 bingos on one game.
Yeah, you weren't one of those
We
guys.
got
Everybody's a winner.
$3.25.
Yeah, everybody's a winner.
That just takes the fun out of winning. You think you're going to
It
win
does.
$150 and you win $3.25.
It does seem interesting
Why do they
to
take
me.
tax
That's
out
what
of
I'm
it?
saying. They're a tax-free organization, 501c3.
Vegas doesn't tax you unless you're over $3,000.
I can't figure it
Yeah,
out.
I know it. It's crazy.
I think that goes
Well,
straight
but-
to the house.
It's the
now,
rake.
if we don't have a great poll for bingo night,
Hey.
just to see the
Somebody.
hey, what's up, Riker?
That's Riker, the Wonder Dog. He's also stage security, studio security. Come back, buddy. It's okay. Good job.
Now we're gonna have a real poll for bingo night, just to see what kind of
Shenanigans?
we
I,
can get.
I would
Yeah.
love to see us. I think last night we had probably, I would say at least 30 there. I would love to see us have 50,
At
60
least.
people there.
Yeah,
I
I'll
really
tell you
would.
right now. We look forward to bingo every month.
It's a lot of fun.
It was good seeing Dawn there for once. You know,
Yeah,
Dawn
she's doing
usually shows
good.
us-
She's feeling better and doing great.
Well, when Brent said bingo, somebody's got to herd the kids.
Right. And what
Yes, exactly.
we're always driving them around places.
Yeah, but
I miss P. Strauss.
you
He
guys
and
need to
Lori
go
come
to bingo.
sometimes. Yeah.
So
but I just want to let you know this time it was not me.
Or yes, sir. Nor me. Have
I
a
was
great day.
exonerated.
Have
thank
a
you,
great
Junior.
weekend.
Appreciate you.
That's our own Junior Samples. You know, we kind of made him a star. I'll take credit for that or blame for that. And then now he's a regular, you know, with Bill Posey, and
Mark Kurtz was there last night.
Yeah,
Lisa
sure.
Poole was there. Jared McCrugan was not.
Junior says it was not me. That's right. Brad
Scott
Mitchell, good
Jomko
morning.
asked if somebody walks around with a ruler slapping people on the hands.
They could. It's almost like parochial bingo.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Lisa Poole hits the nail on the head there too.
Lisa Poole was there.
Unless the lady can't read, the balls are on a big TV screen on all the walls,
She's just being a rule
and
follower.
the little thing that lights up the numbers. They
What did
blink.
BJ say? We're friends meet friends and stare at each other. Yes. Highly recommended though. Bingo's fun.
Yeah,
we have a good
we
time.
always
it's
have a
all
good
about the
time.
friends you
Oh,
take.
Sherry
with you.
didn't win.
Okay. Monty Howard said he had 3 older sisters. Whatever happened, he did it.
Yeah.
We asked you guys to come up with maybe a top 10 list, things that we could talk about. How many of you think were there, BJ? She says 30, new math.
That's pretty close.
Pretty close. Especially the come and goes. We were at 29 after Scott left.
Must be that Canadian math.
We could do a top 10 list. We could take more phone calls. I like the phone calls.
Yeah, give us a call, 361. The number's right on the screen, 894-4020. If you're not watching on YouTube or Facebook, then you can't see the number. So here
Love
it is
to
for the
welcome
folks
our listeners
Magic.
on Magic 95.9, the mothership.
894-4020. If we could just stretch this out a little further, we
Right.
could get to our first break with talking about absolutely nothing worth
Absolutely. It's like Seinfeld.
That's the show, folks. Have a great weekend.
Have
Yeah.
a great weekend. Glad you could join
Here's
us.
our new tagline. If it's not worth hearing, we're talking about it.
Yeah, Ash did something funny. He plugged in Wade and Carter into Chat GPT.
No, I actually asked ChatGPT to
Okay.
roast the Wade and Carter show, and it
Some
came
of the
up.
things they said are hilarious.
It's on the Facebook page if you want to
It's
go read
hilarious.
I think they nailed it, to be honest.
Yeah. Let's do this before we take the break because
Yeah.
we don't want to bemoan it too long. You know, we showed you yesterday, we showed you this that I'd gotten on Wednesday.
Funky Trey Molina.
From the American Car Rental Association. I came home yesterday to find this in my mailbox.
Proposition A will wreck your budget.
See, that's a
Wow.
lie. Proposition A is not going to wreck your budget. It might wreck your budget if you live in San Antonio and you need to rent a car when you get here. Don't
you know what
taken
wrecks your
for a
budget?
ride.
The property valuations everybody's gotten in the mail the last
Right.
2 weeks.
Top 10 things to do in Victoria with your family. Go to church. Go to Veracruz. Go to Paravita.
Go to bingo.
Go to bingo.
Go to Splashway.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's not in Victoria.
Oh, that's right. It's close enough.
Go to the
Don't
beach.
get taken for a ride. Vote no on Proposition A. It raises taxes on Victoria families and businesses. This is simply a stretch of semantics.
a very stretch because
Victoria
if you,
families, if you rent a car from Enterprise in Victoria without insurance, that 3 people a year, yes, it would raise your taxes a little bit. And if you're a business / a hotel, those rates are going to go up a little bit. But it's not like somebody's going to say, I'm not going to spend the night at the Holiday Inn Express because those dang taxes. It's those taxes. Yeah. It's not enough to make a dent in anything. It funds unnecessary vanity projects, with vanity being the refacing of the community
the
center.
last time they referred to them as costly vanity projects.
They're unnecessary and costly.
That's the next mailer. The next mailer will be unnecessary, costly vanity projects.
and it doesn't improve the roads or public safety.
So they've lumped that into one because that was one of their 3 bullet points on the previous flyer.
I
where
don't
it doesn't
get that.
fix the roads and it doesn't improve public safety.
It wasn't intended to fix it's not intended to fix the roads or public safety.
Although it might improve public safety if they have an event that attracts a bunch of criminals to the community center.
You can arrest
They're not in the neighborhoods robbing you of your golf clubs out of your garage.
I just think that it's too much low-hanging fruit, right? Everybody's against taxes. I'm against taxes. But this is a tax on people that, we talked about making everything in Victoria sales tax based. So when people from Hallettsville come in and go to Sam's, maybe they pay a little bit more. I mean, maybe they do because at least they're helping pay some of the taxes.
Yeah.
But you find yourself saying, this is disingenuous to me. This is just, I don't know why at the end of the day.
I think this is going to have the opposite effect of what they're hoping for.
Yeah.
The Rental Car Association, the American Rental Car Association.
I don't get it. And they're
Oh,
from New York. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. It's both are paid for by the American Rental Car Association, and the return address is in Washington, D.C. So that's, to me,
Paid for by the American Car Rental Association. Oh, no. Yep. New
Same.
Jersey Avenue. Yep.
same group.
I think we should put return to sender on them.
Well,
Get
they
them
were
all-
they
get
were
them all
laying
back
all over
to
the
them.
ground outside of our mailboxes yesterday. I think Victorians are tired of mailers. I'd be very cautious with sending mailers in this community. And again, I'm not telling you that I will tell you that I'm going to vote for Proposition A. I'm not saying you should, but if you're going to vote it down because you don't like the community center, because you don't like the location, because you don't think it's going to be effective, I respect that.
But
if you're voting it down because of anything in this mailer, you're just not researching the situation.
Well, but that's where we are as a society, right? You can make claims that don't really, because we haven't taught our kids to ask questions.
That's right.
We've spent a generation in schools teaching kids to stand up against something, telling them what they need to stand up against,
right,
or stand for, but never really explained why.
Stephanie Connie comes in late and says, dang it, I missed the whole convo about bingo, I bet. What you were mentioned, and I think you should go back and listen to it after the program. Andrew Alvarez says the cost of hotel rooms, which include hotels by the hour. So I guess it is a cost to families. I guess it'll also raise the cost of use of criminal and divorce courts in Victoria as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
But for people that make the argument that, well, there's no hotels or restaurants. You live in Victoria. Nothing's more than 15 minutes away. You can spend 4 times that amount of time trying to get out of the Energy Stadium parking lot before you even start to get to a restaurant that isn't anywhere closer to that. So that argument to me is a red herring on this project.
Heather Stewart sums it up. The hotel motel tax in Victoria is nothing compared to what it is in Austin.
And you know what? And I don't remember the answer when we asked Jesus Garza why they couldn't put a ticket tax on events there. I'm all for user taxes, user fees. If you're using it, then pay a little more.
Right.
Because you're using it. If I'm not using it, if I never set foot in the community center, and this is an extreme, why should I pay for it? But I understand quality of life and all that stuff, right? But at the same time, when I go to a sporting event, there is an extra charge on that ticket because I'm using the facility and I'm helping to pay for it.
Right. Jennifer Reber says, how many times have you left an event midway to go grab food? Doesn't matter how far a restaurant is.
Never. That's why they've got you right there. And that's why they charge you $20 for a $5 burger, because they know you're a captive audience. And unless whatever you're seeing is absolutely garbage, you're not leaving early.
Scott Tonka says, getting out of NRG parking lot is just the beginning of the party. There are people that come out of, like, say, the Houston Lifestyle Show and Rodeo, and they're just DWI waiting to happen. But by the time they get out of the parking lot, they're sober. It takes hours.
The lack of ticket taxing allows local groups to use it as a fundraiser.
Fair.
I knew that was the reason why they didn't want to do the concessions and left that to people to run their concessions, but I didn't know that you couldn't tax a ticket to keep that from happening. Interesting.
I'm convinced that's the greatest money raiser on the planet. You could go somewhere with a Blackstone flat griddle. I could put like maybe 25 patties on one of those, but you could hand make hamburgers from the chopping block. You go buy the hamburger meat for, what is it? $5 a pound. And they fresh grind their hamburger every day. And you can buy 20 pounds of that and make third pound burgers. You're making three burgers to the pound. And you could sell the burger, the bag of chips, and a drink for $10. And it's cash only. And it'd be a money raiser. Your cost is $2
per burger. Yeah. I mean, if it's $5 a burger and you're making 3 per pound,
do it. Be $1.67.
I'm going to go to easier math.
Yeah. $1.67.
$6 a pound, 3 pounds per 3 burgers per pound. That's $2.
$2. Yeah. Almost. Cody, you hear him do that Canadian math?
I like it.
I
bet for $6 a pound they'll pre-patty it for you.
You're talking pounds. I grew up in kilos.
You didn't see him doing Chisholm Bop. He was going, carry my one, carry my one. I mean, he can't do 5, 1.67, 1 2/3. It's just
could have. We didn't do fractions in Canada. We had the decimal system.
Fractions. Decimal, 1.67.
That's right.
Don't. He's rolling. Let him go.
Don't stop the train.
Smartest guy I know doesn't let the math get in his way.
No. Why would I? let a
Ash
little
is the
thing
guy
like
that says, what if we went to a subscription-based program? What if we get like $1 a listener? You know, and then if we had like 2,000 listeners, that's almost $2,000. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
almost?
And he goes, well, what if we could get $10 a listener? Well, then we'd only need 200 listeners. You know, so what if we could get $1 million? We just need that one guy. Just give me one guy.
But see, what you don't understand when we have the conversation like that, that's almost 2,000. I'm right, because by the time you pay for the subscription service and all the little costs that go in there,
Right?
the user fees,
You make 80
we're not
cents.
making
You make
Ash is-
$3.
Ash is playing chess while we're playing checkers.
Exactly.
You make $3.25. You know, for $500,
I'm
a
playing
week,
abacus while you guys are playing
no,
paper
for
and
500
pencil.
For $5,000 a week, Ash and I'll just conference call you every morning. You'll be the only listener. Yeah.
With AJ.
Right. Oh, yeah. We'll bring in the state rep. We'll bring in
Occasionally.
Occasionally. Sure.
Can't have him every day.
Kevin Leininger says all these little taxes add up. I hate how they nickel and dime you to death. This
But
keeps
see,
the
that's
car
what's
insurance
great.
rates
It
high.
does, you're not going to pay that unless you come to Victoria and rent a car, and you're not going to pay that unless you come to Victoria and rent a hotel. And the people that need it, it'll never cross their mind. They're not going to go, are we going to go to Victoria? And, well, you know, they raised their hotel tax. Never going to happen. Never, ever, ever going to happen.
She is right on the one, though. I mean,
She's right a lot.
technically, car insurance rate could go higher.
Oh, that's come on.
Yeah, no,
That's-
but I'm
it's-
just
the rates are statewide, and Houston, Austin, San
Yeah.
Antonio.
you're already
You're
paying
already paying for their hotel tax. And at
If
the
you
end
think
of the
the
day,
70,000 people in Victoria are going to
No,
impact the
they're
car
not.
rental rates like that,
nothing
it's not gonna
discernible.
happen.
No, I've never heard an insurance company ever say, oh, by the way, rates are going up because that hotel motel tax, that rental car tax is killing us.
Here's why I'm convinced the rental car companies throw rental car insurance on your as part of your coverage.
Because 99% of you never use it.
Well, there's that. But when you do, they never cover the cost of the rental at the lowest cost.
That's right.
They give you a small car that you
$35 a day for up to 50 days.
Yeah.
And that's all they're going to, or 30
And-
days. That's all they're going to pay.
and they give you a subcompact. And if you have family and kids, you can't get into that subcompact. So you just say, okay, whatever, I'm going to rent this car instead. Or, well, depending on, if you have the cut rate insurance program, well, we've got to get that approved, and that's got to go through the approval to process. And they're not open today. They're only open 8 to 4 on
Wednesdays.
Mondays that end in a 3-0. So
February 30.
yeah.
Right.
And then, so by the time you get approval, you've already rented the car for 2 weeks because your car's getting fixed. So
Sure. And then they give you
Yeah.
a set amount, $50 a day for 30 days, where the insurance company is pretty much covered there with a hedge. The Dollar Floor Store, folks, get into the Dollar Floor Store this weekend and check out your new, Ash pointed out yesterday.
I went in there yesterday.
They have the tile that looks like wood. It just gives things a very clean, crisp look. If you want to redo a bathroom or an office, that tile looks great because it has a wood grain to it. Still gives you the warmth of wood, but it's clearly tile and it looks
Cleans like tile.
awesome.
And you know what? Like we're talking $2 a square foot, crazy prices.
Absolutely.
And I went in there, and I know we have people who fix homes, build homes, renovate homes. If you're looking to build a custom home, if you don't shop your flooring at the Dollar Floor Store,
Oh, yeah.
you're spending way too much money. You
And
could
you
bring
said
that
that's all the
cost per-
premier brands,
It is.
Mohawk, and
Yeah.
everybody's there.
Nothing cheap. I was
Yeah.
like, wow, I recognize that brand. I mean, these are the companies that are, in Georgia and the East Coast where they make all this stuff. I mean, it's
Awesome.
If you're not starting there for your flooring,
Probably spending too much.
way too much money on that house.
Yep. Went Services, Went Electrical, went for your next generator. Storm season's around the corner. North Carolina predicts 2 to 3 major storms. 2 to 3.
I wonder if we get all of our sponsors to go in together and build us a studio.
We certainly have the people to do it.
I know. That's what I'm
We've got
thinking.
the flooring, we've got the furniture, we've got the electrical.
Maybe the mansion on the hill,
Well, you've got the studio.
the world
You
headquarters.
created the world headquarters. We should look at that. Went Services can come out and give you a Generac generator, turnkey service. You'll leave for work, come home, your generator works. It tests itself automatically. It always kicks on when the power goes off.
Always. unless you're at a program.
This is probably Kathleen Leininger. I'm gonna answer this phone. Kathleen, hang on for a second. We'll get you just to hold on. Chesnick Furniture, Chesnick and Love, make your house a home.
2
Get
calls
in
on
and
a
see.
Friday. If we get one more,
I
I
love
think we've
that.
set a record for the most calls ever on a Wade
See why you
Carter
just
show.
always do better at Chesnick. Bobby Leon and his family serving you and yours.
Happy belated birthday to Bobby. I don't
We
know
did
if we
that
mentioned it the other day.
Yesterday, we don't do birthdays,
No,
but
we don't,
Bobby
but-
certainly merits. He's been here since the beginning, believed in the format since day one.
Doesn't always agree with what we say, and he's told me that.
Yep.
Most of it.
Most
but
of
not
the
all
time,
it.
he's right, though.
Yeah.
Brand Us, call Commander Cody, find him on Facebook. Brand Us can help you monetize, grow your Facebook presence. If you're advertising your business on Facebook, Cody can help you clean that up. He's got a great eye for building websites. Reach out to the Commander, and he will tell you, he will help you.
And we just learned he was a master of the recorder and has his own music out there. On
There you go.
places.
Let's see what our listener.
I wonder
has
if he
to say.
plays the wood recorder or the plastic recorder. I wonder which
Steel.
one.
It's
Oh,
steel.
steel.
Nice.
So he never travels north of the 49th because he doesn't want that thing to stick to his lips. When
That's
it's snowed
correct.
up.
Good morning. Hang on.
Do we have a caller?
Yeah, we do, but I got to get her on the. I don't know why it
Oh.
doesn't defer right
I
there.
don't know.
There she is,
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
live
we're
from
great.
Shiner, Texas. It's Kathleen Leininger. How are you, ma'am?
Fine.
Does that make her Kathleen Scheiniger?
Scheiniger. The brewery's not open yet. Otherwise, she'd have her
I
little
know.
tokens, and she'd be over there just sipping a few.
I know they don't do the tokens anymore. At least I don't think so.
I don't
Yeah,
think they do. Either.
I think
It's too
I
bad.
think they do.
Wooden
You-
nickels.
You buy a for $75. You get
I know.
something like 100 tokens or something, and a tour of the brewery.
Used to be
I wish
free.
you got 100 tokens for that, but you don't.
Be nice if you got like a Uber ride after you go through that, Jewel. How are you,
I
man?
know.
What's on your mind today?
You guys are talking about taxes, and that's one thing that drives me nuts. It's like they nickel and dime the heck out of you. And to me, it's like, why don't you just be honest? And you're still going to get money from people when you jack up the sales tax, which they've done. Instead of doing these luxury or guilt taxes like they do with alcohol or cigarettes, and now they're doing with the rental cars and the hotel motel. I mean, it just because your neighbors do also come to Victoria to shop, and they pay the higher income or the higher sales tax and whatnot.
Right.
We don't have a problem with that. But then, you have to come in for a wedding or an event or something like that, and you'd rather rent a room. Well, then you not only pay the higher sales tax, but you also pay the jacked up hotel motel tax
That's fair.
or the jacked up car rental tax. I mean,
Do
be
you have any
honest
idea?
about it.
You have any idea what a hotel room costs in Victoria, Texas? I mean, you go home.
Yeah, it's usually about $150, something like that.
So, I mean, in all sincerity, and I don't think it's even anywhere near this amount. If it went to 155, is that going to deter anybody from coming here? Because if we go to Houston, it's 175 to 200. I mean, and I don't know how
Honestly,
much of
I don't
that is
think it's gonna
taxes.
It's not going to deter people from using it. But it's not an honest tax,
That's fair.
And
I can go with that.
And it's like, to me, the only thing that I can compare it to is those luxury or guilt taxes where they tax you for alcohol because, we want to guilt
Yeah,
you
they want
out
to
of-
shame you into not drinking anymore or not smoking
Yeah.
or using
Well,
tobacco
so Scott
products.
Tomko
and-
says
yeah.
a guilt tax on alcohol should be named happy tax.
But at least we haven't done what California does and basically taxes you they tax you for staying in a hotel and call it like a residence tax or a domicile tax or something. It's
Right.
ridiculous. Unless you're staying in that hotel for over 30 days, then you can actually apply for an exemption from that tax.
The one thing
Well,
I would throw
Temporary
out is,
residence tax or something stupid like that, they call it.
I don't.
And honestly, any state you can do that. Once you've stayed more than 30 days, then the
Yeah, but who's staying in a hotel for more than 30 days unless the Red Cross is paying for it because your home was destroyed or something? I mean, realistically,
Well,
some
there's-
people that work. I
If
get
this
it,
tax
but-
goes up, the Red Cross may tell you to sleep under an overpass. You know,
they might.
might very well do
Yeah.
that.
could happen. Kathleen, thanks
Hey,
so
thanks for the
much.
call. Appreciate your
Hey,
viewpoint on that.
we love your listening. You're one of the brightest stars here. Thank you very much.
All right, that's 2 calls, 2 ring-a-dingies. One more, and we set a new record on the Wade and Carter show.
Cody,
Could this be a
2
record-breaking Friday?
ring-a-dingies. And now he's just unashamedly begging for another call. I don't know.
Lisa Poole asked, I was sitting next to Stephanie. What did she say? We're not going back to the bingo.
We're not going back to that, Lisa.
We're beyond bingo now.
Yeah,
we're through the bingo.
We got yelled at. We didn't do anything. It's just, you know what I feel like
Brent
right
got
now?
slapped.
I feel like Rylan when he comes home from the 7th grade. Dad, like you might get a call from my art teacher, but I didn't do anything.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that's a sure sign you did something. Why would you think that your art teacher might call me if you didn't do anything? She hates me, Dad. She hates me. So later on, she calls Dawn. She says, look, I just adore the kid. But, the other day, I was in the middle of doing my lesson and a child wanted to go to the restroom. And I said, hang on a minute. And a couple minutes later, another one said, can I go to the restroom? And I said, sure, go ahead. And Rylan raises his hand and says, Miss So-and-so. And she said, yes, Rylan, you this kid was first. You skipped him to let the other kid go to the bathroom. And she goes, I don't like being micromanaged in my classroom by a 12-year-old. She goes, but he's just so darn cute. And I said, it peaks, lady. It peaks. He's cute, but it peaks.
Sounds like he wasn't wrong, though.
No, but we did tell him, please refrain from directing the traffic in the classroom. What do you make of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? Is he wrong? People now, so the whole reason that you had the very temporary, you'll notice it's passed, in part because it only involved a couple of Amish. Truly, nobody cares about the Amish. It's a true story. But the measles outbreak, the measles resurgent, and people saying, see, it's those anti-vaxxers. That's what, because they're trying to steer you back to where everybody needs a COVID vax.
Well, Robert F. Kennedy, he's anti-vax. He hates vaccines.
Certainly not.
He has said he doesn't hate vaccines. He thinks there's a place for them, but he thinks there's also problems with some of them. That's basically what he said. I'm paraphrasing, but he's anti-vax because of that. And no matter what he says, the left and the media never believes him or lets him.
The problem with the COVID-19 vaccine is it doesn't work.
And the other problem is kids weren't dying from COVID.
No.
They've had more problems from the vaccine than they've had from COVID. The numbers bared that out from day one, and Brent and I were always about the numbers.
Oh, got another
if you
caller.
were old, fat, and sick, it was killing you. If you were young and healthy, it wasn't.
And that's something we talked about. Oh, turn down your radio, Funky. One thing we talked about was that before the vaccines came out, the low-hanging fruit had already succumbed to COVID. The old, the fat, the sick, especially if you were old and fat.
And especially if you were old, fat, and sick and living in a nursing home in New York.
Where Governor Cuomo put you all together and put you on the same breathing. Look at Dawn Nicole jumping in to defend Rylan. He was actually paying attention. She shouldn't have been upset with him. She wasn't. She was upset that she couldn't be upset with him, which I think is great. We're joined by Funky Trey Molina. Good morning, our brother. How art thou?
I'm good. I was just going to say, why don't y'all come down to Corpus this weekend and stay at a motel or hotel for the Buck Day parade?
Nice. Bucks Day, is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's been around forever, hadn't it? Like your mom went to Bucks Day.
Yeah, it's been around forever. And it's just a bunch of rich people paying $20,000 to wear a dress.
Nice. Okay. And that sums it up. Yeah, it's Buccaneer days. It's kind of like Fiesta time. Do they elect a king and a queen and all that stuff?
They did that last night.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Right.
Tonight they had the King's Court, which is crazy.
We circumvent. We're great, and we circumvent
appreciate
all
you being
that.
our record-breaking caller today.
Yeah, here in Victoria, though, we circumvent all that. If we have a big civic event, we just roll out Czar Jesus, and he's always,
he's always the king.
He's got his scepter.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting. You have the city council meeting, but the city manager sits in the back with his scepter and gives the thumbs up or the thumbs down.
Well, it's also a taser, and he points it at people, and if they get out of line, they get a little
How you feeling, Funky?
I'm feeling good. I was gonna say, don't talk about our city manager because he's wacko.
Corpus
We
has
can't
always had
wait till we
challenges.
get
hasn't
into
it?
that market. It's going to be so much
We're-
fun.
we will have a blast in.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
we
need
will
to hurry
have-
up and
Mm.
yeah. There'll be no lack of information for you to talk about.
Do you
I'll
know
tell you
that?
right now.
So we're very, very fortunate. We have a great relationship with Lopez Broadcasting, which is the group that owns Magic and also owns several stations in the Corpus market. And the president does a segment from like 7 to 8 on one of his stations. And he was off, so like vacation. So they simulcast us down there for, what was it, Funky, 3 or 4 days?
Yeah.
That we've been on in Corpus in that market. And
we didn't know about it.
We didn't know about it. And I spoke with him a couple of weeks ago because we were trying to see when can we get into that market. And he goes, well, I've got to admit, one of our regularly scheduled programs, when it was resurrected after y'all were back in Victoria only, we got a lot of phone calls about, hey, put those 2 gringos back on. They were great. And it was his show.
Yeah.
So like he does the show because, hey, I'm the owner. I can do a show.
I can do the show.
And they were telling him, why don't you just go to your office and put the gringos back on? I think we're going to shred the Corpus market. We'll get more involved in their politics and the wackiness of Corpus, and we'll have a blast. I think it'll be a great time.
I have 2 relatives in Alice, Texas that listen to you on Facebook as well.
Welcome, Alice.
Welcome, Alice.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're spreading the wealth, I guess.
We appreciate. Well, we're spreading the word. I'm not so sure about the wealth. I haven't seen a paycheck yet.
Yeah, we're not getting paid for it. We don't do it for the money. We do it.
We do it for love.
I heard you bankrolled yesterday. You said at bingo.
Sure.
A whopping $3.
$3.25.
Yeah.
We do it for the self-glorification. Enough about
All right,
us. What do you think about us? Hey, thanks, Funky.
Thanks,
Have a
Funky.
great weekend.
You too, man.
buddy.
It's our buddy Funky Trey Molina
Get down to Corpus for
yeah.
Buccaneer Days. That ought to be fun. HR Mallory says, hey, I'm channeling my inner Rylan here. Your record-breaking calls were on Brother G's birthday. I hope the Brother Man comes by today. Brother Man, if you're out there, go ahead and give it a little gas, babe.
Yep. Get on the gas. Get over here.
Let's take a quick break so that when the brother gets here, we're uninterrupted, unencumbered. Speaking of unencumbered, cook what you want. You want Wagyu brisket. You want chickens. You want chicken stuffed with boudin. You want sausage. Get by the chopping block.
Yeah.
Everything is fresh.
Boudin is so good.
It is so good. Everything they do there is top.
If you can stretch
shelf.
this just a second,
I'll stretch it in a second. But the chopping block is just fantastic. While he searches white trash services and white trash side services, we saw BJ Nelson last night, and she doesn't look tired, but I think she puts some of those little, like that oil under your eyes at night, because they work tirelessly. Unbelievable. White trash is growing by leaps and bounds because they just do what they say they're going to do. Like, you might think that's not a big deal, but I've had times in Victoria where I'm like, where's the city? They haven't picked up my trash yet. It's 8.
Well, they were blowing stuff out yesterday to make room for today's
it's a
shipment.
chopping block.
So they've
Okay.
got something coming in. I don't know what it is.
Oh,
they're
gonna
teasing
have
us, but they'll have
steak,
they'll have a huge
fajitas.
sale for the weekend.
They have pre-marinated
Yep.
chicken wings that are great in an air fryer. They're just awesome. Atzenhofer and Atzenhofer.com since 1926. I can't wait to celebrate 100 years of Atzenhofer. It's going to be awesome. I can remember with my dad getting to ride in the front seat and go over to the Chevy house. We're going to go to the Chevy house. And he would go buy parts. Back then, they were the parts house for you to buy parts to go shade tree, work on your own car. Dad changed water pumps, all kinds of things. Things that never break anymore.
Well, now you got to take pieces off the engine just to get to the engine.
Yeah, no kidding.
Covers and cowls and all that stuff. Yeah.
Now we want you to put something down on the ground. USA Concrete Coatings. Call 578-HOME. Let Charlie Garcia, the singing cowboy, come out and give you a quote for putting down a tough as nails polyurethane coat that won't
crack, stick, peel, or fade.
And it will coat your garage floor. They will steam clean it, get all the oil off of it, seal the cracks. It'll look brand new. Veracruz Restaurant, today is Chicken Fried Friday.
Last day to get in this
You
week.
can get it every day, but it's just better on Friday.
It just seems like it. Yeah.
Get in there. And you know what? Nobody really thinks about this. 2 things. Veracruz, they have the best iced tea in town, period. But they will serve you a cold beer on a Friday night. Get in there and get you a nice ice cold long neck and a chicken fried steak.
And they cater.
and they cater, and the
And they'll
catering is
cater on
great.
weekends too.
They will cater on the weekends. It's like you've been reading the notes. Unbelievable. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Dawn points out that Caden always orders the chicken fried
He's
steak.
growing. Boy,
He eats like a man. Could I have a chicken fried steak? I'm like,
wait till that
double
metabolism
French
slows
fries.
down. Caden, wait till the metabolism slows
I
down.
want double French fries. And they're like, well, what kind of dressing do you want in your salad? Salad. I want a stinking salad. Double fries. Yeah. Compadres Design. Reach out to Chris Soule. Your advertising opportunities. Get with Cody. Let him help you design a logo. Get with Chris and let him help you put it on your car.
Lisa Poole at Pura Vida Wellness right now.
Lisa's out there in the parking lot.
Actually, that's why she was late checking in for the bingo
she
talk.
went
'Cause she was
straight
already
from
there.
bingo. She parked in the parking lot,
Camped
watched
out under the
Netflix
stars
all
without a
night.
tent.
Yeah, she watched Netflix, and then she gobbled up all the meals at Par Vita right now that are still in the display are half off.
That are in the freezer.
Yes.
Yeah, or the fridge.
Yeah.
They have a refrigerated area too. That's just great.
First Day
good.
Bank Astros update. Astros on the road in Kansas City to take on the Royals
Tonight
They
didn't play
start that
last
series. No. Wisniewski gets the start tonight against
He's done
Lugo.
very well. You've got to make something up, right? Astros had a peaceful flight into Kansas City yesterday. No problem. Checked into the hotel, the Hyatt. Everything's good. Room service was fantastic.
Jordan leading the team at 13 RBIs. We'll see what happens. I like Kauffman Stadium. That's a pretty cool place
It's
to watch
nice.
a ball game.
Named
If
after
you've been there.
Ewing Kauffman, a longtime owner of the Royals.
They've got some really cool features there. They got their Hall of Fame. They got a tribute to George Brett, maybe the greatest Royal of all time.
I think that's arguable. Yeah, I think so. Who else? Brett Saberhagen,
Dan Quisenberry.
Bo Jackson.
Too short, though.
Very
Didn't-
exciting.
yeah.
Very exciting to watch.
Yeah. And the hockey half minute. Panthers beat the Lightning 2-0. So the Panthers lead that series 2-0. Maple Leafs, as I affectionately refer to them as the Loafs, they're up 3-0 in their series against the Ottawa Senators. They beat Ottawa in
How often
overtime
does anybody
3-2.
come back and win 4? I mean, I know
It doesn't. It happens about as rare as it does in baseball.
There you go.
Yeah, the Senators are done. They might win a game at home just to make their fans happy and give them a little bit of hope. But no, the Leafs are actually looking pretty good. I hate as much as it pains me to say that. Minnesota beat at Vegas 5-2. That series now 2-1 in favor of Minnesota. Right. Minnesota A.
Yeah, there you go.
And St. Louis destroyed the Winnipeg Jets last night as that series shifted back to St. Louis 7-2. That's the highest scoring game. Connor Hellebuck, best goalie in the NHL, but man, he just seems to fall flat in the playoffs. And in 3 games, they were lucky enough to win one 6-5. The Jets were. Now they lose 7-2. In between, they win 2-1. But you got to stop giving up 5-7 goals. You ain't going to win a playoff game like that.
Junior Samples points out that he loves our 2 young men Cubs. I'll tell you, Junior always finds a way to employ certainly Caden. Caden goes out and works for him. But Caden has learned a lot hanging out with Junior. We've told you here before.
Well, he wouldn't have employed him until Trump started deporting illegals.
Right. Yes.
So they were all working for Junior.
He does call Caden Peppy when he's on the property. But he did teach Caden how to rehome a beehive, a bee colony, to where Caden had the suit on and used the little smoker, and I guess calms them, or basically probably, I don't know what you put, hemp in the, they're all high, the bees. But Caden located the queen, and Junior helped him relocate the queen, and all the bees calmly moved over. Caden came home like, Dad, that was the coolest thing. And I got paid to do it. It was awesome. Yeah. Dawn says, Junior, we're trying to raise them right, but I'm going to tell you, Junior is helping raise the boys too. He does a great job of giving them things to do and giving them responsibility, and then treating them like, you did what I expect you to do.
So is Junior like the second mother, or what is
he's more like that one uncle that every family has, because while they're working, he'll say something like, did you hear the one about the 3 nuns and the Jewish kid? I mean, he's just that guy. He can't help it. Caden always comes home with like an inappropriate and questionably funny joke or story from Junior. And if you don't tell it exactly the way Junior tells it, it doesn't have a chance. It's not funny, So if Caden misses one word, it's like, Sometimes it involves words that Caden doesn't say. It's very difficult to interpolate what Caden is trying to say because he thought it was funny, but he knew he shouldn't laugh. Yeah. Scott Tomko says, "Oh, Stars games are starting at 8:30 and finishing at midnight."
Yeah. I think they played tonight.
Monica Joe says he's their Mr. Miyagi. Yeah. Yeah, wax on, wax off. Slave labor gets things done. I mean, there's no getting around it. That's what Caden is out there.
That's why.
Man, look at the pyramids.
Yeah. Russian missile strike yesterday, and actually Donald Trump, to the shock of the world,
was upset.
Oh, his sternest warnings ever for Vlad Putin.
With his best friend. He's upset with his buddy. Yeah.
Called on Putin to end the fighting.
I was asking Cody about this before the show. So it's more than 3 years after Russia launched the deal. Russia started the conflict. But now 3 years later.
They started the conflict when they invaded the Crimea years ago.
But 3 years later, Russia controls about 3.5 million population, not counting on where they've been displaced. But Russia controls 20% of Ukraine.
That'd be about 4 million if they wouldn't have all
wouldn't
have been killing each other.
Right. So, but if you are Ukraine and you basically can't win the war, I mean, I'm sorry that it's not a level playing field. It's just not a level playing field.
Might have been able to win the war if we would have just given them everything they needed right off the bat,
but we didn't.
Piecemealing it out month by month to.
That's right.
I don't know why, so they could.
Biden did that so he could make money off of it.
That, and so they could continue to authorize ridiculous spending amounts.
So what do you do if you're Ukraine and the United States and the EU say, you know what? I mean, we're kind of de facto fighting Russia, and we don't want to fight Russia. And it's only through the very shaky benevolence of Vladimir Putin that he doesn't just nuke them. Because what he wants is the precious minerals. He wants the lithium. He wants what's under the ground. That's what nobody's thinking about. This is not about you're being mean to people that used to be Russia. He's not about that.
And then people say, well, he wants access to the Black Sea. Oh, he's already got it.
Right. It's about minerals. It's usually about oil, right? It's about money. So he's not nuking them. Obama sent them blankets, Kathleen Leininger points out. Trump gave them missiles and all kinds of stuff to defend themselves. But now we're at the point where practically, whether they should win, whether they are victims, whether this is fair or unfair, they can't win. So why don't we just stop?
Well, because because Zelensky does not want to cede any land, right? To Putin and to Russia. And I don't think that's realistic. No, I don't.
I don't think it's realistic.
It's never been realistic in almost any war that's ever been fought. If that's the case, we need to give back all of Texas to Mexico.
That's not going to happen.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Right?
But I mean, I agree that, people now are like judging things like there's a world court of morality that says
it's a war, people.
It's a war. It's like it's a world court.
Well, he should have to give up the land because
Putin's a jerk. And I'm like,
agreed.
Okay.
Putin is a jerk.
But
you know what? You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube and go back to how things were 17 years ago in 2008 when he first entered the Crimea.
I would love just in the comments or with a phone call for anybody to tell us how you think this is going to end and how you think it should end. I mean, should it end? Yes, it should end now. And it should end with Russia going, hey, our bad. Look, you guys are valiant. You've shown.
You can't do that because then he'll be taken to the world court.
He's a dictator. No. He's not doing that. So you got to figure.
I don't want to hear how it should end because we all know how it should end. The war should stop today. Putin will give back the land. Yada, 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 yada. That's not realistic.
It's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah. There you go. We could give Cali back and throw in Oregon and Washington as interest. I like that. Although Northern California is not so bizarre.
No, but you're right there with it. You need a buffer between them and Oregon. So do we attack Northern California or Southern Oregon just to keep the crazy away? I don't know.
Somebody asked the other day, well, what if Russia turned around tomorrow and attacked Alaska? Okay, if that happened, President Trump's not going to get on a plane and go to Europe and say, hey, could you guys give me a couple of $1 trillion?
Yeah.
Because I want to fight Russia. That's just not the way it works. But yet, because it's such a sympathetic cause, and because Ukraine is right and Russia is wrong, we feel like we should be defending Ukraine. But with what? Are you going to send your son to fight the Russians? Be honest. You want your grandson, to suit up for this cause? Are you dying on this hill?
You know what's interesting, and this just kind of just hit me. This war would be over tomorrow if they weren't killing men, but killing women.
Oh, it'd be over.
If women were involved in the fighting to the extent, to the hundreds of thousands on both sides that have died that are males, the world would be screaming for this thing to end, and it would be over by now.
What if we had...
Men are disposable when it comes to war.
Yeah, but what if you had the tranny, the trans could go do it?
Not enough of them.
Would we miss Alaska? That's another question to ask.
I think there's parts of it.
I mean, it's just kind of up there in the corner. Do we even really think about
the
it?
cruise industry would go.
But we need Alaska to give us a buffer between us and Russia.
That's true. And Canada.
Plus, we're going to turn the woolly mammoth.
Wait a second. Canada's the buffer between Alaska and the U.S.
No. Like, we might want it at some point.
We're going to turn the woolly mammoth loose when we get it rebuilt.
I hope so.
Look,
they've already got the dire wolf back.
Let's do this real quick to give him a chance to pass through unnoticed. Sneak on through, boss man. What else do we have? You might give me Mike 3.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
When he gets
We've
there.
done them all. I'll tell you this. If you haven't come down and checked out the offices at 205, you're missing out, because John Paul Hull and Mr. Geets have done amazing things down here, and we'd love to have you come down and see it. We're joined, as we often are. I like to say, as we always are, very difficult sometimes to fit into his busy schedule. We're joined by the brother man. The applause was deafening, as always, and per your contract, we played the applause.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail turns 50 this month. No idea.
We talked the other day about Patty Welder being built in 1938, and I said, and Brother Gary was there.
I was there, man,
Sure.
right there.
How about Cam Ward being picked number 1 by the Tennessee Titans?
I love it.
I think he's a good kid. He's sort of exceeded expectations everywhere.
Cam Ward, I mean,
nobody wanted him out of high school, even though he had the strongest arm that most coaches had seen.
That's right.
Out of where? Van Vleck, West Columbia, I think was where he grew up.
Cam Ward's football career started at the University of Incarnate Word in San Antonio.
That's right. That's all.
That was the only scholarship offer he had out of high school. He transferred to UW.
No,
Washington State.
Oh, you're lucky.
There you go. Then he goes to Miami. Now he's going to be the number 1 draft pick.
How about that? Yeah, he's going to get some money.
I don't think he's going to be that great.
I don't know if he's going to get that kind of money that he got in college.
Well, that's right. If you're to stay, you get $8 million. Travis Hunter, Heisman, number 2.
Great player.
Great
generational talent. He'll be a great receiver or defensive back.
A couple of Longhorns went the first round. One Aggie, couple of Longhorns.
Kelvin Banks went, I think, number 9 to New Orleans.
And the Cowboys get a lineman, and they didn't address, in my opinion, they didn't address their needs. They need defensive help, and they didn't do it.
But a lineman from Alabama can probably play. The thing I'll tell you about Kelvin Banks is, remember I told you this, okay? What's the guy's name, the Larry Allen that played forever?
He was
Kelvin
great.
Banks will be the next Larry Allen. You can plug him in day one.
If you're anything like Larry Allen, you're good.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that's good.
They will plug Kelvin Banks in at New Orleans at left tackle. He'll play there forever and be a Hall of Famer.
One glaring thing before I want to say something about your kids, but one glaring thing: Shedeur Sanders did not get picked in the first round. You know why?
Because of his dad.
That's right. Because
nobody wants his dad.
If you get Shedeur, you get prime time.
Right. I don't want prime time in my prime. Because you know why? Because for better or worse, Deion Sanders has a forum. He can always find a microphone. And if he's not going, they need to be playing Shedeur. No NFL coach wants to hear that.
I think it comes down to great college quarterback and athlete.
Yep.
I think there's concern that it won't translate to the NFL.
bottom
And he
line-
wants to play quarterback.
Right.
I don't know that he can. I mean, someone's going to give him a shot.
No, you're
but I
right,
don't know.
Ash. He's not the very best, but that's also what we just said. That's a determining factor too.
Torrin Bale says, who should know, Torrin Bale says, by the look of the bling being worn last night, they were all making good money.
Who
in
was the one
college.
guy? Was he was
They
from
made
Texas?
some
They
money.
showed him lounging on like a sofa.
Oh, yeah.
And he had all this entourage around him. The only thing missing was people fanning him and feeding him
Who
grapes.
was that guy?
I don't remember.
It was
He
a
from-
Texas guy.
Yeah, it
wasn't
was from Texas.
Was
Your alma
it
mater.
Golden? Was it Golden?
Might
I,
have
didn't see it.
been.
I was
Might
at
have
the,
been.
and I didn't make it last night, boys. I was downtown Rhythms. We had the symphony and all the Texas tour. The hot rod cars are down
Was
there.
that all related?
That's all related. That was a package deal.
I have to
Symphony.
tell you,
That was a great
Yeah,
event.
Mark
I missed
Kurtz
y'all.
and Don Nicole say it was golden. I mean, it was just the stupidest look ever.
Well, I saw it.
Did
They
we-
showed highlights.
that might have been his little cousin. You don't know.
You should have been down there. We
Well,
had some of the best looking cars down
That's what
there.
I wondered. No, and that was put on by the Symphony.
The Symphony and Hot Rod Texas Tour together partnered.
Now, did I miss something? Did Kimberly Tomasic promote that here?
She did.
Okay,
Yes.
good, because I
But
was
we had
coming-
already said
You got it
bingo
right
night.
now. Tomasek.
Sure,
Tomasek.
Tomasic.
No, Tomasek. Right there. Close
yeah,
enough.
Yeah,
Close enough.
he's
We're
from
close.
like York Yoakum, I think is
Yes,
where he's
sir.
from. But you know, when I was coming into the show yesterday, we were diverted because they already
Right.
had the barricades up.
They already
had
had
the
it
street
up.
blocked off all day.
Yeah. I mean, we had a terrific crowd down there. I thought about y'all. I had some people ask how I was going. I said, I'm getting out of here about the same time they're leaving.
Yeah,
So it
we
was a
missed
good
you
event.
last night.
I just want to say something about your kids, your two girls and your two boys. What I've seen from them and what I appreciate the most, they show respect. They've showed me love and respect. That's all you ask for.
Oh, they're super
no
good
more.
kids.
You
Yeah.
need nothing more than love and respect, and they do both of them.
And my
Oh,
two girls
all
have been
four.
busy this week with the Blue Bonnet stuff that's going on
She
tonight.
called
at
me
Spring
yesterday.
Creek.
She talked to me a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
I talked to Tyler.
So if
I
you
s-
want to get to the final Blue Bonnet Youth Ranch Celebrity Showdown and Dance, Scott Taylor playing it, has the honor to do so. That's at Spring Creek tonight, and I bet you they've got tickets at the door.
Mike Taylor, his father, Joel Nava, and Dennis Wood all going to be.
Oh, that'll
down
be
there.
great.
Mhm.
Torrin Bale says, he says, I love it when kids give the glory to God. I do too.
That's right.
Mark Kirk says, who needs to wear sunglasses when they get selected in the draft? You almost want a kid. You almost
Well,
want a kid.
they're probably because they're all high and they don't want everybody to see their red eyes.
Yeah,
and
because they don't test
big
yet.
pupils.
No, that's what they want to wear, man.
But they
It's
don't.
ash. They
You,
want to
you almost want a kid like in college, maybe he's got long hair, but when he shows up
Trevor
for the
Lawrence?
draft, he's
Right.
tightened up his hair a little bit. He's
Yeah.
got on a suit,
Yep.
and he realizes he's going to work.
It's,
Getting drafted is not success. Getting drafted is the job interview.
Well, they're just up and they're ready for it. You see
Oh, yeah.
those guys? They were just screaming. They showed some highlights, screaming, hollering.
I think
"Thank
if it
you."
was me and I was making that kind of money in college, I would be, I would have a nice, discreet, probably black Lamborghini. I don't think I would be so flashy.
not a red one.
Right. Like my license plate would say, catch me. you know?
Discreet Lamborghini.
I
Just
saw-
very discreet, low key.
I saw in the run up to the
Discreet.
draft. I saw the draft predictions from '89. I think
Right.
when the Cowboys took Aikman first overall.
Oh man,
Oh,
They actually had the
wish
Cowboys
we had
taking
him.
the Cowboys actually they in this one prediction they had
Right.
because the Cowboys picked first, Green Bay picked second that year.
Right.
They had the Cowboys taking Tony Mandarich first, and then
Oh,
Aikman went to Green Bay.
what a bust.
and they
Bust.
had Detroit taking Deion Sanders.
Yep.
Barry was like a 10th round potential
Wow.
pick.
How much would
How
the
good was
NFL
that?
have been different? So if Troy would have gone to Detroit,
Right.
who would have, or Troy would have gone to Green Bay? Would Favre have ever happened? Who was?
Well, no,
there
because they
then?
wouldn't have traded for him from Atlanta.
Think about that.
For the Magic
NFL would
Man.
be totally different
Yeah,
over
okay.
one draft pick.
Might have been totally different just because of that one pick.
What do you have? What
All
do you
right.
have going this
Tonight,
weekend?
I'll see y'all later, but I'm doing the UHV alumni banquet first. I've got that crawfish bowl at First State Bank. Y'all been talking about
This
that.
afternoon.
I'm
yeah,
coming
6
in from
o'clock.
Formosa. We're doing that hook and cook. I'm doing a little early stuff over there today, and then I'll do the rest tomorrow. Hook and cook Formosa, big event, and they raise all the money for charity.
HR Mallory says, I don't stop people anymore, but for you, Brent, challenge accepted. He's saying that if I have my catch me on my very discreet and subtle matte black, just a
Discreet
matte black Lamborghini.
Okay.
Yeah, then
Yeah,
he would-
right.
He would pull me over.
And
Yeah.
we've got that lovely. And then they have the President's Tailgate tomorrow.
Yep.
and the golf tournament for Colony Creek for the Blue Bonnet.
Well, and it's also a free ticket weekend presented by Crossroads Bank for UHV
Oh,
baseball.
get down and support the
Senior day
Jacks.
tomorrow as well. We'll recognize that. I think we got like 12 seniors that are
12 o'clock double header.
Yep.
All right. So
That's a
all
great
the
thing for
kids.
the
I've been
kids.
seeing them all the time.
Take your kids at noon for free.
During today's game at 7 o'clock,
Yep,
we're going to recognize our men's and women's golf team, which are heading off to conference tournaments next week. Our men's team, defending number 5 team in the country at last year's national championship.
I've got to see them.
Imagine
won
if
5
UHV
conference tournaments in a row in men's golf.
Fantastic.
Looking to make it 6.
What if
great.
they had an athletic director? Wouldn't that be something? He does a great job. Ash does a great job. Oh, I know. It's not in my contract.
I don't want to be jinxed.
Mark Kerr says if Drew Bledsoe wouldn't have gotten injured, Tony Romo
If
would
Drew
have.
Bledsoe wouldn't have got injured, Tom Brady wouldn't have.
That's a true story.
Right.
Tom, at the time that Drew Bledsoe got hurt, he was the highest paid player in the history
Bledsoe
of the NFL.
was. And Bledsoe was good for a couple of years.
And he was, and it's been subtilized, but he hated Tom Brady.
No,
hated him.
Competition.
Sure.
That's competition.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey,
Yeah.
guys are great, man. We'll see you all weekend long.
Brother man, we love you. I'll see you all weekend
too.
for
God
sure.
bless you.
Folks, it's the top of the hour. It's time to get out of here. Brother man's got things to do, people to see.
Birthday
babies
to
kiss.
celebrate.
Woo! Birthday when?
Isn't it his birthday today?
Is today your birthday? No,
No.
Look, it was news to him.
Yeah, well,
Oh, somebody said that earlier on the
yeah,
show.
they missed it.
Oh, they were saying that we got
Our
our most
record.
calls on the day that the brother man had his birthday.
Well,
Yeah. I don't know
Folks,
what
we
to do.
apologize
hey, that's
for
good.
Commander
That's
Cody.
I don't know
Thank
what
you,
I'm
sir.
talking about.
He wasn't paying attention. We'll see y'all later.
Have a
Bye,
great
folks.
weekend, folks.
With another man's wife.